Hello, it's Nick. Today I will show you how to design interactive Pay button in Figma. First, let's type a text. Button label will be Pay Now. Select text object and add it to Auto Layout. Change the width of the frame. Add fill color. Our button will be black, so I will change the color of the label to light gray. Now change the fill color of the button to black. Add a corner radius of 16 pixels to make it a round button. We have a default state of our button. Time to create a processing state. To do that, I will create a copy of my button, change its label to processing, and change some visual attributes of this button. Remove the fill color, change the color of the label to black, add a black stroke. To make my processing state more dynamic, I will add a loading indicator. Choose ellipse and add one to the canvas. The size of ellipse should be proportional to the text size of the label. In my case, it's 15 pixels. Now let's design a loading spinner. Zoom in and hover over the ellipse. You will see this dot. Click it and drag it to the center. Rotate it a bit to create this shape. Now hover over the center dot, click it and move it to the edge of the ellipse. Click the bottom dot and connect it to the top to create a full circle. Now click Fill and select Gradient. Choose Angular Gradient. Move the gradient angle control to the top of the circle. This will be the default state of my loading indicator. I will need a few more states to show the rotation, so I will copy the object a few times and change the angle of each option. For second circle it will be minus 90 degrees. For third circle it will be minus 180 degrees, and for the last one it will be minus 270 degrees. Let's make a full circle spin for the animation. So I will make a copy of the first ellipse and put it at the end. So now we can add a loading indicator to processing button. I will arrange my ellipses vertically. But before I start adding them to the button, I need to change one more thing, the name of all ellipse elements. It's important that all ellipses have the same name, otherwise Figma will treat them as different objects, rather than the different states of the same object. So I will quickly update the name of the elements in the left side panel. Now I will copy the processing button a few times. And start dragging and dropping the ellipses to the buttons. Because I use Auto Layout, Figma will position the loading indicator nicely in the button, so I don't need to worry about the spacing. Finally, we need to add a success state. To do that, I will create a copy of the button and use this checkmark icon that I took from SF Symbols. Let's quickly change its size to match the size of the text label, drag it to the button, and remove the loading indicator and text label. Select the button and change its fill color to green. Change the checkmark icon color to white. And hide the stroke. To make the transition more natural, I will create an in-between state between the processing and success states. Copy the success state and change the visual properties, such as opacity, to 20% of original value. Do a similar thing with the checkmark icon. Select all frames, click Distribute Vertical Space to get equal spacing between the frames, and create a component set. Rename the component to Button. Switch to the prototype mode and start create transitions between states. When a user clicks on a Pay Now button, they should see a processing state. For animated effect, I will use Dissolve. Dissolve transition will fade in the destination frame on top of the original frame. Ease in and out back, duration 200 milliseconds. The transition between the second and third state will be triggered after delay of 1 millisecond. Animation will be Smart Animate, Linear Curve, duration 300 milliseconds. I will use the same animation effect for the rest states of processing button. A linear curve should work great for this loading indicator, because the speed is consistent from start to finish of this animation. The transition between the last processing state and the success state will also be triggered after a delay of 1 millisecond, but the animation effect will be different. It will be ease in and out, back curve, and animation will be dissolve. Again, dissolve transition will fade in the destination frame on top of the original frame and help us create a more natural transition. Finally, the transition between in-between success state and final success state will be smart animate and linear. 300 milliseconds timing. That's all. Time to test our design. Create a test frame. Navigate to the Assets tab. Drag and drop the button to the frame. And click Preview. Let me know what you think about this pay button animation in the comments.